Okay, hi everybody, welcome back to Farm to School and my kitchen. And today we're gonna make ramen noodle soup, but with a twist and from scratch. So when you think of ramen soup, you probably picture this or a cup of noodles. But today I'm gonna take just the noodles from this packet. We're gonna make our own broth and add some vegetables and a hard-boiled egg and make a meal of it. Okay, the first thing we're going to do before we start making the soup is actually hard boil our eggs. And I just want to make it very clear that the eggs in your recipe kit are already boiled, so don't try to boil them again. But if you want to make more, here's how to do it. So we're going to start with a saucepan, and we're going to put, Walter, pull it together, boy. Okay, I'm gonna do 2 eggs because there's only 2 of us here that are gonna be eating this soup. So I'm gonna put them in my saucepan, and then I'm gonna put enough water to cover them. And then we're gonna put them on the stove and bring them to a boil. And we're gonna keep kind of half an eye on that, because once they come to a boil, we're gonna turn off the heat and let them sit for 10 minutes. So while those are coming to a boil, we can start building our broth. And in your recipe kit, you have bouillon cubes, which when combined with hot water, make chicken broth. I have bouillon base, mine's not in cube form, but it's the same idea. So when I'm making broth from bouillon, I pre-boil my water so that it's hot, and it makes the bouillon dissolve a little bit faster. So you might want to try that. So I have boiling water, and I have 4 cups here. And I'm gonna do 4 teaspoons of bouillon base, approximately. So we're going to dissolve the bouillon in the water, and I'm going to turn on the burner. To get this water boiling. So we're going to dissolve the bouillon in the water. So we've got our bouillon boiling. We're going to add ginger and garlic to that for flavor. So you have a chunk of ginger in your recipe kit, and we're just going to kind of cut the ends off of it a little bit, like so. And then you can use a spoon to peel it. So here's my peeled ginger. There's a couple of ways you can go from here. You can either slice it, like so, and then once you get close to your fingers, you can turn it on the flat side, keep going. And you can slice it, and you can just throw those chunks in your soup and then kind of avoid them when you're eating it, or eat them, some people like them. Or you could go further and slice them really small. Over there, and then you can use the boat hole for your knife and slice them really small, like you would garlic. I like making ramen soup. I find it very delicious and comforting, and I was kind of inspired by our middle schoolers who, in our junior chef competition in Farm to School this year, made a ramen soup based dish that they invented themselves. Okay, so we're gonna add our ginger to the pot. In addition to adding ginger to our broth, we're going to add garlic as a flavoring. So you have garlic cloves that are already peeled in your recipe kit, but if you were gonna start like this with unpeeled garlic cloves, start by putting the knife on the garlic clove, pushing down with the heel of your hand, and that just kind of loosens it up so that you can peel the paper off. And you can mince this garlic the same way you did the ginger if you want, but I really like leaving them kind of whole in my soup because I actually really like finding them in there and getting to eat them later, because once they've cooked in the broth for a while, they're all tender and delicious. So over here, which is boiling, so that's great. I'll give that a stir. Okay, we have ginger and garlic in our chicken broth, but we're gonna add some other flavors. So we're gonna add a tablespoon of soy sauce. And soy sauce is really salty, so it's basically like adding salt to this dish. Optional is to add some sesame oil if you have it. So I'm gonna add a teaspoon of sesame oil, and I only have a 1/2 teaspoon measure, so 2 of those. And then I'm gonna add a little rice vinegar. And we're back. Walter is sleeping. My eggs have boiled. I've turned off the burner. I've put a lid on them, and I've set a timer for 10 minutes. Now my stove is gas, so it gets cold right away, but if you have an electric stove, you wanna actually take the eggs off the burner and let them just sit with the lid on. Our broth is boiling, so we're gonna add some vegetables. And one of the beautiful things about this recipe is you can add basically whatever vegetables you have in your fridge. I'm going to add broccoli and carrots. And that's also what you have in your recipe kit. So we're gonna cook those vegetables for about 5 to 7 minutes until they're kind of tender. And while that's happening, I'm going to make an ice bath for my eggs, because once they're done cooking, we're gonna shock them in cold water and stop them from cooking. So I'm gonna get a big bowl. And run some cold water into it. So while our vegetables are cooking, we can start prepping our toppings for our soup. And in addition to our hard-boiled egg, we can put some green onion on. So I'm gonna cut the end off the green onion, and sometimes the tops of the leaves look a little old, so I'm gonna cut those off too. And then I'm just gonna slice it really thinly. We're also gonna prep some greens to add to our soup. So I have spinach here, which works when cooked. And so I'm just gonna grab a handful of spinach leaves, and I'm gonna kind of pile them all on top of each other to cut them. And if you wanna get really nice about it, you can like stack them all facing the same direction and whatnot. But I'm just gonna make a pile. And then using my bear claw and my knife, I'm just gonna slice them into kind of ribbons, like that. And I'm gonna split those between my 2 bowls that I'm gonna serve my soup in. And then another fun topping you can do is grated carrot. So I'm gonna peel my carrot. And then, so these are the peelings. I'm gonna put those aside. And then I'm just gonna peel pieces of carrot, and we can put carrot curls on our soup. So that's probably more than enough of that. Let's go check on our broth. So my vegetables are almost done, so I'm gonna add our noodles. I like to break the noodles into, like I break them in half, and then I break them in half again the other direction, because otherwise they're almost too long to eat. So we're gonna open that up. It's easiest to break them when they're in the package, because they don't go everywhere. I'm gonna toss our seasoning packet away, because our broth is better. And we're gonna add our noodles to the soup. You're gonna cook these for about 3 minutes. Oh, there's the timer for my eggs. So I'm going to take these over to the sink, and I'm gonna drain the water off the eggs. And then I'm gonna gently jiggle my eggs back and forth in my pan to kind of crack the shells. And then I'm gonna put them in the cold water. And they're gonna sit in the ice water for 5 minutes. Okay. And I'm gonna cut these eggs in half lengthwise. Okay, so we're gonna get our soup, which is done, in a ladle. Come on back over here. And we're gonna put our soup over the top of our greens. Well, there you go. Ramen with vegetables and a hard-boiled egg. So much better than just using the seasoning packet. I hope you enjoy it. I really enjoyed cooking with you again this week, and I look forward to next week's video, which who knows what we'll be making at that point. Happy quarantine!